Okay, we've aligned this part correctly, and we've moved the part origin. Notice that the bottom of the part here lies parallel with the x-axis, so we may need to do some machining on this angled face and the rest of the outside shape here. We'll do that here in just a little bit. But probably the most important thing to do before we get about moving the outside here is maybe it's sitting in a vise of some kind or whatever fixturing you decide to use to hold it. Um, we should go ahead and pocket these features and show you how that goes with a new improved feature we've had for quite a while now in our 2.5D solids machining package called the Profiler. What the Profiler does is it allows for machining directly on a solid without going to the trouble of extracting or building geometry. It's available from the little tool up here that says Toggle Profiler. It's right below between the window and plugins pull down folder, pull down menu. There's a little green button there that says Toggle Profiler if you've got your tooltips turned on. And when you toggle the profiler, it brings up this little green mesh here that brings up a plane that you can drag and drop anywhere on the geometry of the solid model that you would like. You can also right click on that and tell it where you want it to go and what in depth. So if you know a certain region of the part where you want the profiler to be, you can go ahead and use that. We're just going to kind of play by here. We're going to get the depths we need from the solid model. All I really want the profiler to do is identify for me the features that need to be machined. You can probably see that better if I go into the top view. So there's one pocket. Here's another pocket. The profiler is not deep enough to get that hole right there. We'll have to go a little deeper. But there's another pocket over here, and another pocket over here, and pocket over there, pocket over there. So there's quite a bit of data available at the depth where that profiler is right now. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up my tool list and my CAM machining palette, and there's an exercise in the 2D production milling videos that talks about using processes, how they're used and how they're stored. Just for now, I'm just going to go pick a process I've already stored called a 1/4 inch pocket a solid feature. So basically we're going to use a 1/4 inch diameter end mill. Some of these details here are pretty small, so you may want to go in here with a roughing mill ahead of that, but just for purposes of demonstration here, I'm just going to use a pocketing operation, and let's assume we're going to take it right to size. No pocket stock, no island stock, and no Z stock. So all these pockets are going to be enclosed in the boundary of the part, so we don't have to worry about using the stock dialog down below here. Just go ahead and select an individual feature, and notice how that when I select that, the Do It button turns black here, so I can go ahead and machine that pocket I just selected. Let me zoom in, show you what the detail is, and again, maybe look at the top view. That's what the inside shape of this pocket's going to look like. But I don't know what the depth is, so let's bring our dialog box back up here, and where it says depth of, let's make it 0 for now. I'm going to leave that active so you can see it on the screen here. Hold down my Alt key and click on that face, and it turns out that's negative 0.7874 deep. That's way too much for a little bitty end mill to go. So let's specify, let's say, a 125 pass, and automatically does all the math for you. It says can't do 125, but I can do 112 4/10. Gives me 7 passes. That's fine. Since we're going to stay inside of a closed boundary, no sense having retracts turned on. Retracts will pop the tool up to this clearance plane up here at Z.1 between each pass. There's no reason to do that because there's nothing to avoid. And now we can go ahead and hit the Do It button. And in fact, it pockets that closed boundary there. Let me move a little further down here. I think this feature right up here has the same depth. We'll double check it. It's a little smaller, but again, we're going to go 1/8 of an inch deep here and hit the Do It button. Be careful you don't click on the redo because we're adding new operations here. Let's go a little further here up the part. About this boss right here, how deep is that floor? So again, we'll click on the feature. Anywhere in the profiler, it turns blue. Hold down the Alt key and click on that Well, that's pretty deep. That's going to be almost an inch deep. So again, we'll take the 125 per pass. And we'll click on the do it there and keep working our way around the part. I believe these are the same depths. You can verify by just bringing the process back out again here. Clicking on the final depth dialog, hold down the Alt key and click on the floor of that pocket. Yep, that's the same depth. So we'll just hit click on the do it button. Undo that. I had the two features selected. We got to be careful about doing that. Let's redo that or regenerate that. Yep. So deselect that and select that feature and click on the do it button. So we got one pocket there. Let's see what we got for a depth here. Hold down the Alt key again. Let's retrieve the depth off of that floor. 787 again. Again, we're going to try and keep 1/8 of an inch per pass for our tool, and drag it further up here. Just keep going right through the back of the part and make ourselves a little bit of room here. And how deep is this pocket going to be? Hold down the Alt key, click on the floor over here. 984 again, 1/8 of an inch deep per pass. Click on that feature and click on the do it button. So just that slick, that easily we pocketed, well, there's 6 pockets there. So remember the exercise is if you click on the feature tool operation over here and do a redraw, you'll see what each of these features does. Each of these tool operations, just do a redraw. It's also a Control R from the keyboard, so you can save a little bit of time finding the mouse button. And let's go ahead and render it and see what we get. Do it on zoom here and click on the play button. There's one of the pockets. There's our pocketing. And I believe I've got a tool holder defined for this. So if I click on my show tool holder, I can bring the tool holder up. Notice we've got a tool that's got not enough Z depth or flute length to accurately get to the depth, and we're showing a little red stripe there. Notice the software doesn't stop you from making that mistake, but in fact warns you. Anytime you see red on a screen like that, you should double check and make sure you're not dragging the tool where it doesn't need to go. Again, it doesn't stop you from making those kinds of decisions, but it's warning you there's something going on and you need to pay some attention to. New in version, I believe it came out in 9.0. Let me get rid of the process here. You should now be able to make drills based on geometry that comes off of the profiler. So if I click on the drill icon, I'm going to make a new tool here. Tool number 2 is going to be a drill. Click on the drill icon, go to the main tool diameter, and if I zoom in, let me bring the profiler back up here again and drag a little window. I should be able to alt or click on the diameter of that and alt click on the feature of that hole, and it says that's a 3937 drill. And further, if I make a process here, it's going to be a holes process. Again, for review on those, you can go back to the 2D production mill videos about how you build a process, drilling process in this case, and how deep does this hole need to be. I believe these holes go all the way through here. If I do a Control U or non-zoom, top view, yeah, that hole there doesn't go through. So let me kind of rotate around here so I can see the bottom of the hole. And there's the bottom of the hole. Let's make sure that the sharp tip Z depth here is active and click on the Alt button. That's a 784 depth. And now I should be able to select that hole, close the window, and click on the do it button. In fact, we can now drill a hole right off the profiler. So the same way you use the profiler to do pocketing, you could use the same methodology to determine the hole size for a drill and go ahead and do a drill. And the same way, we could actually buzz this tool right around the outside shape of the part while we're at it as well. So let me get rid of that process here. Let's do an unzoom. Let's make ourselves that same tool, that 1/4 inch end mill. Let's make a bigger tool. That's not a great big tool for inch end mill. Let's make this a 1/2 inch end mill. Give it a little more flute length, about 1.5 inches. Flute length and maybe 2 inches out of the holder. So we can buzz around the outside shape of this thing. We'll call this a 0.500 finisher. And this carbide as well. So now we'll go ahead and drag our 1/2 inch end mill down. And now we're going to do a contour process. We just want to take one cut around the outside shape of the part. And how thick is the part? Well, let's go ahead and alt click on the bottom of the part here. That should tell us how deep the part is in Z. -1 inch, 181 through. So we'll just maybe go, so let's subtract another 20 thousandths, so we're going deeper than that. Let's go again, take that all maybe in 350 thousandths per pass, 4 passes. Again, no stock, a small 90-degree line going into the part so our cutter race comp can be turned on to control the outside shape of this thing. And let's go to the top view here. Pick the outside shape of the part. Notice when you're working in solid models there, you don't, uh-oh, we got a little bit of problem here. This little island doesn't have the outside depth, so let's double check here. Let's go with a Z depth of that distance, so we'll go 984 to go around the outside so we don't violate this pocket down here. And then we'll finish by going around the outside shape of the part with a deeper profiler. So as I was saying, when you have the working on a solid model, you no longer have their cutter side pick. Remember when we were doing the wireframe machining earlier, when you pick wireframe 2D geometry and you want to do a contour cut, the software gives you the ability to put the tool on the left side of the line, the right side of the line, or on the line, and you can then pick the direction you want the tool to travel. In fact, when you're doing profiling on a solid, it doesn't give you that option because it never lets you violate the solid model. So the cutter side option is gone. The only thing we have here is a cutter direction. So let's go ahead and do a climb cut. Let's go ahead and hit the do it button, and there's the outside shape machined down to size here. And while we're at it, we'll drag the profiler down to where's the profiler? So it's down at the bottom of the part here. And now we'll start the outside shape at -0.9, say 70 or 980, and then finish it at -1.120, say, or 1.130. So we're through the part 15 thousandths deep. And now notice that we can now start on the outside shape. Again, we're going to do a climb cut, click on the do it button, it goes around the outside shape of the part. So let's go ahead and see what this thing looks like fully rendered now. Let's go ahead and keep on machining here. Do a rewind and final machine the part. So we drilled one hole just to show you how it's done with the profiler. So we're roughing there, and we should also finish the outside shape down to that pocket depth and then go around the outside to cut the part off completely with a 1/2 inch tool on the outside shape of the part. That profiler is a very, very handy feature. Saves tremendous amounts of time. If you've got processes defined, and again the processes are on the DVD, there are lots and lots of processes that come bundled with you, these tutorials. With a combination of the processes defined for you and a good solid model and a profiler, you can really save yourself a lot of time making parts off of solid model by machine directly on a solid without resorting to building any wireframe. So that's pretty much it for importing and using solid models to orient the part correctly, and then using the profiler to go ahead and do the machining. And there's another set of these videos covering creation and machining of 3D non-planar solids with our solid surface or model. Again, I hope these videos are a benefit to you, and thank you for listening.